Police bandits exchange gunfire after ENMORE robbery. Man held for stabbing death of Northwest shop owner. Oil production will not employ many Guyanese, says ExxonMobil. Government to assist Guyanese law students with UWooding tuition. Guyana could soon exit FATF, CFATF watch list, says Attorney General. And mother, relative of 14-year-old caught with cocaine at CGIA, remanded. Good evening, I'm Edward Lane with tonight's edition of the Evening News. Moments after committing a robbery on the R. Ramlagan General Store, ENMORE, East Coast, Demerara, on Monday, one man was apprehended while 5 others are on the run. Ramona Luthi reports.
The robbery reportedly occurred around 17 hours by a group of men who were all armed with handguns. Reports are after committing the robbery, the armed men boarded a pink Toyota Ram bearing registration PNN 334 and left the scene. However, as the vehicle drove off, the police gave chase but came under fire. In retaliation, the police discharged several rounds at the vehicle, one of which shattered the back windscreen. The shootout reportedly started at ENMORE and ended in Beirut village, also on the east coast of Demerara, which led to the arrest of one of the bandits. The others reportedly abandoned the car and ran into the bushy area in the Bag Dam. An unlicensed firearm was reportedly found in the possession of the man apprehended, and he was taken into custody as he is being drilled about the names of his other accomplices. The car was impounded at the Covent John police station. Acting Crime Chief HUGH, when contacted, told the Evening News that the men had committed a robbery in the area, and with quick response from the police, one was arrested. While he did not have much information about the robbery, he noted that the team of the investigators were up till late Monday evening at the store taking statements from the victims. When contacted, the Ramlagans refused to comment. However, the Evening News understands that this is not the first time that the store has been robbed by armed men. One resident disclosed that only a few months ago gunmen stormed the establishment and carted off an undisclosed sum of money and other items. Police in C Division have launched a manhunt for the escaped bandits. Ramona Luthi reporting for the Evening News.
Thanks, Ramona. The off-duty policeman who crashed his minibus on Regent Street last Saturday, injuring 8 persons, one of whom subsequently died, appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court today, charged with causing deaths by dangerous driving. Kizzy Coleman reports.
Timothy Horatio, 26 of 3 Stone, Georgetown, appeared before Magistrate Leron Daly at the Georgetown Magistrates Courts. He pleaded not guilty to the charge, which stated that on August 27, 2016, at Regent Street, Georgetown, he drove motor vehicle BTT 7994 in a manner dangerous to the public, thereby causing the death of Dillon Linton, 21 of Campbellville. Attorney Darren Wade, who represented Horatio, made a bail application stating that the defendant is remorseful for his actions and is deeply troubled as the deceased is his best friend. However, the prosecution explained that currently there are 3 other persons that are still in the hospital, one in a critical condition. The defendant was remanded to prison and is next to appear in court on September 9, 2016. Reports are that on the evening of Saturday last, Horatio was drag racing with the ill-fated minibus and in an attempt to overtake another minibus, collided with the motorcycle, causing his vehicle to topple several times before crashing into a utility pole. Several persons were injured and Linton died the following day. Several beer bottles were seen at the crash site, and according to some persons, both the driver and conductor were seen consuming alcohol earlier in the day. Reporting for the Evening News, Kizzy Coleman.
Police say they have arrested a man who allegedly used an arrow to fatally stab a shop owner at 4 Miles Port Kaituma Northwest District last Sunday. The dead man was identified as Ramsamy Narain of Best Village, West Coast BERBICE. A police report stated that based on investigations, the suspect and his friends were imbibing alcohol beverages at a shop owned by the deceased when they were asked to leave, but they refused. Subsequently, an argument ensued and the suspect left, but later returned with an arrow which he used to stab Ramsamy. American oil giant ExxonMobil, currently exploring here, has cautioned that not a large number of Guyanese are expected to be directly employed when commercial oil production begins here. More in this report.
Country manager of ExxonMobil's local subsidiary, Jeff Simmons, advised Guyanese officials to look towards utilizing oil revenue to create employment in other areas for locals, since only 2 floating production, storage, and offloading vessels would be operated by at least 50 persons each. At a news conference on Tuesday, the ExxonMobil officials suggested that there is a scope for job creation in the provision of certain supplies such as cement, mud, and food. He noted that unlike Guyana, Trinidad has numerous scattered rigs with more persons being employed in the industry there. Simmons explained that the operation is not a very people-intensive activity, adding that the high-tech oil exploration and production equipment requires highly skilled persons. Meanwhile, company spokeswoman Kimberly said that in other countries, some of the oil earnings are used to improve social and physical infrastructure and so create jobs. Currently, there are 300 Guyanese outsourced contracted service providers working for ExxonMobil locally out of a total of 680 persons. A further breakdown shows that between 150 to 180 foreigners are working on the rig located about 200 kilometers offshore. The company expects to pump 100,000 barrels per day from Liza well, compared to an estimated 80 barrels per day that Trinidad and Tobago extracts from several wells countrywide. Simmons said that there are no plans to build an oil refinery in Guyana. The current deposit of 800,000 to 1.2 million barrels at Liza well has an estimated lifespan of 20 years. Reporting for the Evening News, Kizzy Coleman.
We now tell you that the government of Guyana will pay some $17.5 million to the HUGH Law School as 25% of the total tuition fees for 50 Guyanese students who will be completing their legal education at the Trinidad and Tobago-based institution. Details from Alexis Rodney.
Parliament recently approved the payment by government of 25% of the economic cost of the fees paid by the Guyanese law students attending the HUGH Law School for academic years 2016-2018. The sum for the 50 law students is $17.9 million, or US $85,000 per annum. Parliament's approval has come even as the University of Guyana and the University of the West Indies remain in consultation over the automatic entry of the 25 Guyanese Bachelor of Law graduates.
On Thursday, September 1, 2016, the special meeting of the Executive Council will be held, and on Friday, September 2, 2016, the meeting of the Council of Legal Education. The business of the latter meeting will include financial contributions to Council, the collaborative legal agreement between UG, UE, and the Council of Legal Education for a progress report, and elections for the position of chairman, as well as members of the executive committee to be held at the end of the council.
Last year, the 25 students were denied automatic entry to the HUGH Law School by the Council for Legal Education, which cited overcrowding of the facility. Following this, the calls for the establishment of a local law school took on new urgency. Williams blamed the previous administration for cancelling the subsidizing of contribution to HWLS and CLE, but said when the matter involving contributions to the program was first discussed in Cabinet, there was no funding for that exercise. In fact, former Attorney General Anil Nandlal had said that contributions each territory makes is used to subsidize the tuition fees which students are required to pay. He said the practice was halted by Guyana 15 years ago and never affected the admission of Guyanese students into the law school. He said all that was meant was that the Guyanese students no longer benefited from a subsidized tuition fee and therefore have been paying the full tuition fee set. Nandlal had said further that his administration was able to facilitate a 10-year agreement towards the automatic entry of local law students to the HUGH Law School following negotiations with his government and that body, but noted that they exited office in 2015 before the agreement could be signed. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
Thank you very much, Alexis. You're watching the Evening News. More still ahead after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. Guyana will soon be able to exit the watch list of the Financial Action Task Force and the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force when officials from FATF carry out an on-site visit here. Alexis Rodney reports.
Minister of Legal Affairs and Attorney General Basil Williams today assured us that Guyana is poised to loosen from the grips of the financial watchdogs since it has already met the core recommendations set out by those bodies. He was speaking to journalists at his office. He said had the country not been referred under the previous People's Progressive Party government, it will have exited a long time now.
In fact, having completed all the key and core recommendations for CFATF, we would have been able to exit, but for the fact that Guyana had been referred under the previous government to the FATF process after being subjected to 3 public statements and still hadn't corrected or implemented the recommendations that they were required to do. So it follows that we can't exit CFATF until we exit FATF. And that's why we're here, because we've satisfied all those recommendations in the action plan agreed between FATF and Guyana. And so that's why we were able to get them to order an on-site visit.
That on-site visit to Guyana by FATF's 5-member team will be on September 14 and 15.
They're looking to see whether the reforms that are contained in the agreed action plan between Guyana and FATF, whether those reforms have, 1, been introduced, 2, are being implemented, and 3, are being sustained, and there's political commitment to sustaining them.
The team will also meet with the Attorney General and Compliance team, the Minister of Finance, the Director of Public Prosecution, supervisory authorities and reporting entities, including banks and remittance services. Williams said once the team is satisfied with the government, at the next October meeting will move a motion for them to exit the process. Meanwhile, Williams will be attending 2 CFATF ministerial meetings in Miami, Florida between September 6 and 9. The 8th special ministerial meeting has on its agenda for discussion an overview of the core work of CFATF, activities of its steering committee, and the strategic plan. For the evening news, Alexis Rodney.
Businesses are advised to be on guard as counterfeit foreign currency has surfaced once again. The evening news was shown surveillance footage of a man who allegedly exchanged a counterfeit $50 US note for Guyana currency at a Kitty, Georgetown business. Details in this report.
According to the Kitty businessman, the perpetrator entered the grocery establishment a little before 14 hours and purchased about $4,000 worth in groceries. However, just as he was about to leave, he asked the businessman to assist him in changing a US $50 note to Guyana currency. The proprietor explained that he made the shocking discovery shortly after the man left, when his wife noticed the highlighter imprinted its mark deep into the $50 note, usually in the case with counterfeit notes. When used on genuine notes, the ink would fade after some time. The Kitty businessman explained that he does not normally change money, but gave in to the man's request. The evening news understands that the police detective is aware of the report, but the supposed fake currency and the shop's surveillance footage is yet to be taken by police as evidence.
The Guyana Police Force on Monday issued a wanted bulletin for Kirk Errol Patton, 39 of Lot 203 Charlotte Street, Georgetown, for questioning in relation to trafficking in person and forgery. The police stated that the offense was committed on November 6, 2014 at the Central Immigration and Passport Office, Camp Street, Georgetown. Anyone with information that may lead to the arrest of Patton is asked to contact the nearest police station or call 911. One of the main suspects in 2 armed robberies at the Sisters Village, West Bank, Demerara business in less than a month has been released from custody, while police are seeking advice on charging other suspects. Details in this report.
Reports gathered by this newscast indicate that the suspect had worked on the Sisters Village business place for some time and reportedly kept a key to the female proprietor's house in his possession. The evening news understands that the suspect was released due to the expiration of the 72-hour detention period, and a source indicated that police are seeking advice from the Director of Public Prosecution on charging several other persons in relation to the crimes. On Friday last, reports indicated that around 3 hours, the armed masked men had invaded the woman's premises and had held up the female proprietor and her family. The evening news had been told that the gunmen forced the family to give them over $80,000 in cash and a quantity of prepaid mobile phone cards, in addition to other valuables. The first robbery on the woman's establishment had occurred on August 3rd, when 2 armed gunmen who had pretended to be customers stormed the same business place, forcing several persons to lie face down while they relieved them of their belongings. Reporting for the evening news, Kizzy Coleman.
You're watching the evening news. More still ahead after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. Although statistics point to a decrease in serious crimes in BERBICE so far for 2016 when compared to the corresponding period last year, Divisional Commander Ian Amsterdam is still concerned with the division's crime rate. Details on this report.
To date, the police in BERBICE have recorded 241 serious crimes compared with 253 for the same period last year. Break and enter and larceny stand at 108 as against 114, while robbery under arms stand at 42 for this year compared with last year's figure of 49. Rape reported for this year are 20, while for the same period last year it was 34. Despite an increase in crime in recent months, police analysts indicate a 0.5% decrease for the year compared to 2015. Murders so far this year stand at 22, as opposed to 16 in 2015. Faced with these statistics, Amsterdam acknowledged that although the murder rate is high, they are working tirelessly to ensure that they solve as many cases as possible.
We don't want to be known as the murder capital. We don't have control over murders. But what we love to do is to ensure once it's open, it's closed. Meaning, when the murder is committed, we should find the perpetrators, charge them, and hope that they are convicted. And we were able to do that in a number of occasions. But murder still is one of our causes of concern.
Meanwhile, the traffic department has been able to take 13,376 matters to court this year compared with 11,104 for the same period last year. 377 of those cases were for driving under the influence of alcohol compared with 182 in 2015.
We've had to go back to the drawing board and to look to see, forget the reduce or reduction that we have against last year, but every crime is a crime, every murder is a murder. Therefore, the numbers are too high for this year. And we've got to start now looking to ensure how we, even though we're showing a decrease, we need to ensure that we reduce crime overall in B Division.
According to Amsterdam, the aim is to provide more training and education for ranks so that they will be able to deliver a higher level of service with a long-term goal of reducing crime.
Our drivers are drinking more in BERBICE and therefore cause for a lot of the accidents that we're seeing and experiencing. Nevertheless, our traffic department continue to work and work hard. Some ranks are going to be awarded here today, not only because they're doing traffic enforcement, but also because they are also involved in anti-crime activities. And we do have traffic ranks here who, due to one traffic stop, they have intercepted persons involved in other criminal activities.
Meanwhile, in an effort to motivate ranks who play an integral role in crime fighting, 65 law enforcement officers from B Division were awarded on Saturday. Details in this report.
65 ranks from the division, 21 from the cops and faith community were awarded on Saturday for their prompt, intelligent and good police work in capturing wanted persons and criminals, and also for the recovery of firearms and the detection of illegal drugs. The award ceremony was held at the St. Francis Community Developers Auditorium in Rose Hall Town. Also receiving awards were 17 work-study students, 13 members of the business community, and 4 individuals for the selfless service and commitment to social activities that aided in crime prevention and traffic improvement, while 8 major operatives were awarded for the continuous support to the division. Divisional Commander Assistant Commissioner Ian Amsterdam noted that the media have been highlighting the good work being done by the police.
Compliment those media houses that do things like court roundup, and they show where persons are prosecuted and are sentenced in the magistrate's court or in the high court. Those things, when criminals see that, it is used as a deterrent. When the perception is that if you're caught and you're charged, you're going to go to jail, they will think twice. But if the perception is that once you get charged, you're going to go free, then they will continue to be involved in criminal activities. So we've got to change those negatives to positives so that we can improve on our prosecution rate. We've got to build public trust. We've got to move this police force from the least trusted to the most trusted.
Speaking about the police's performance, Amsterdam said many ranks have been dedicated and were not awarded during the force's award ceremony in July in observance of its 177th anniversary.
We don't award people for coming to work. If you find a gun, it's police work. If you find drugs, it's police work. If you arrest the most notorious criminal, it's police work. And that is what you swore to do. Therefore, we don't have to give you an award or incentive.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Now for a look at what is happening inside the courts with Renella Bourne.
The mother and another relative of the 14-year-old who was busted at Chedijagan International Airport with cocaine concealed in the handles of his suitcases appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Magistrate Lee Randali, charged separately. Cora Towler, the child's mother, and Eon Griffith, a relative, pleaded not guilty to the charges, which stated that on Friday, August 26, 2016, at Chedijagan International Airport, they were in possession of 1.4 kilogram of cocaine for the purpose of trafficking. Griffith was represented by attorney PTU, while Paul Fongafat represented Towler. Both attorneys contended that the cocaine was found on a third party and not on their clients, hence further investigations should be carried out elsewhere. They were both refused bail and will return to court on September 12, 2016. Additionally, Godfrey Henry, 63, was placed on $300,000 bail after he made an appearance before Magistrate Daly to answer to a charge of cause of death. It was alleged that on April 28, 2016 at Homestretch Avenue, Georgetown, he drove motor car HC419 in a dangerous manner to the public, thus causing the death of Fitzroy Bradford. He will make his next court appearance on September 7, 2016 for statements. Finally, in the courts, 4 Haitians appeared before Magistrate Daly on charges of illegal entry. Fitzco Julian, Amarnarfa Krisky, Jim Richmore, and Desmond Kendi all pleaded guilty to the charge, which stated that on Friday, August 26, 2016, at Springland Quarantine, they entered Guyana by sea and disembarked without the consent of an immigration officer. They were each fined $30,000 or 6 months imprisonment, failure to pay fine. They are to be deported after paying the fine or serving their sentences. Reporting for this edition of Inside the Courts, I am Renella Bourne.
A 24-year-old Essequibo Coast mother of one was on Tuesday granted bail after she was slapped with a manslaughter charge for allegedly killing her brother during an altercation last week. Stephanie Laurie of Lot 2 Better Success made her first court appearance before Magistrate Sunil Scars on Tuesday at the Anna Regina Magistrates Court. Laurie was not required to plead to the indictable charge, which stated that on August 25, 2016 at Lot 2 Better Success, she unlawfully killed Maxton Orlando Laurie. She was granted $400,000 bail and is expected to surrender her passport and report to the sergeant at the Charity Police Station every Wednesday and Saturday. On August 25, the woman's older brother, under the influence of alcohol, allegedly approached her with a knife, and during an altercation, she pushed him, causing the man to fall on the knife, resulting in a single stab wound to his abdomen. He was pronounced dead on arrival at the Saudi Public Hospital. A large quantity of tiles which went missing from the Fort Ordnance Primary School, which is currently under construction, was found installed at the home of a security guard attached to the school. Andrew Carmichael reports.
The suspect is attached to Home Safe Security Service and also works as a cook at Central Police Station in New Amsterdam. CEO of Cascon Engineering, Rafi Kasim, says after the discovery was made, he was advised to visit the home of the guard who lives in the vicinity of the school, where he found the tiles and cement.
She took me into her home, and I saw the tiles already placed on the floor. I told her, I said, listen, could you repay me for those tiles missing? I did a physical, and I found out close to about 240 tiles were missing and 8 soccer tin set. I asked her to repay me. She agreed to repay me. So I didn't call the police in or have police involved. It so happened that The entire day passed and she didn't return my call. So I decided to go to the police and made a report. On Friday, the police and I went to our home, and I saw that she removed all the tiles from her floor, all the tiles that I saw on Wednesday. A search by the police and some of my men of our yard, we found that she had removed the tiles and showed it at the back of her yard.
A source close to the police has indicated that a probe has been launched. CASCON was contracted by the Civil Defense Commission to develop the school into a disaster center. The $13 million project includes the rehabilitation of the main building and a bridge, as well as the construction of a new bridge, the upgrade of the kitchen, and the construction of a new sanitary block. Kasim says last week's incident might have an impact on the ability to complete the project in a timely manner.
Well, we all know school is going to be reopened in a week time, and now I don't know how long this investigation is going to last, or if she's going to repay me for the tiles. I might have to go back all the way to Georgetown in order to purchase these tiles.
Could they be reused?
No. Once tile removed, once the inset is being placed on tiles and they're removed, they cannot be reused.
For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Thanks, Andrew. Join us after the break for your regional and international news. Stay with us.